Oh, there's another one.
Just swimming.
I'll go take my clothes off in a second.
Hey, Marianne.
Hi, I started the meeting for Becky.
Oh, okay.
Because she's on the road and was afraid she wouldn't make it back to town hall
Okay,
on time.
all right.
So anyway,
All
so
right.
I'm not really here.
I was gonna say, Becky, you've changed so much.
Yes.
How are you doing?
I'm fine. How about you?
Good. You must be exhausted.
I'm not exhausted.
Are we recording already?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. Hang on a second.
Tell me how you did with the.
And then let people in, okay?
Yeah. What's happening here?
Oh, Becky's on the road and she thought she was gonna be late, so she asked me to start the meeting for her. So I started the meeting for her.
Got
That's why, that's like, I know what's happening
I
here.
thought, oh, do we have a new town administrator?
Yes, okay. So I'm letting in John Montanari. Well, I'm gonna let Eric Stalker in first, and then I'm letting in John Montanari. and
Okay.
Tom Seaver. Okay.
Now Melissa should be coming up.
Yeah, I don't see her yet. Hi, Eric.
Good
Becky's
evening.
Becky's on the road running late, so I started the meeting for her.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
So
I
I
was
know
gonna say you don't look like Becky.
I don't, no, but you recognize me, right? So, okay.
Oh, yeah, yeah. You look like a friendly face.
Yes, okay. So I better keep watching in case Becky can't get in. She should be able to get in though.
Did she say what time she was going to?
Well, she thought that she would probably make it,
Oh,
but
okay.
and then, but it's 5:31 and she's not,
Right.
so, so she's, and Melissa's not here yet either,
Okay.
so I'll just stay here, so that you can, so that I can let people in.
Okay.
And,
I'll
oh,
text
strange
Melissa.
for Melissa to be late, don't you think?
Yeah, she has a new job.
I
so
know. Yeah.
I don't know if she's, let me just see, I just got a text. Let's see who
Okay.
that's from.
Work is a curse.
Work is a curse. It wasn't from Melissa. Okay. She might have, I'm not sure why it was switched to 5:30. She might have thought it was 5:45. Because we
Oh.
have been meeting at 5:45.
Okay. Well, it might be that too. Oh, I was just gonna say Becky is here, but that's actually me. So, um, so. I'm gonna bring it over. I'm gonna bring the computer over here. I'm gonna start making dinner.
Okay.
So, and I'm just gonna keep looking at the screen.
Okay.
Okay.
Why don't you have a
You
little
wanna-
cooking, have a little cooking show?
Okay. All right, let's see.
Okay, Melissa will be here in 2 minutes, she said.
Okay.
So just for our guests this evening, thanks for your patience.
So the ticks are out. I just went for a walk. We do a library walk on, I'll take this opportunity to do a free commercial for a library program. So we go for a library walk on Tuesday afternoons at 4 o'clock. And for this month, we've been walking on Pelham Hill Road.
Yeah.
And we're gonna do that one more week, and then we're gonna switch locations in June. But so far I've had 12 ticks on me.
No way.
Since
Today?
I got back. Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So,
Well,
yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah. 12,
Just from-
12 ticks.
from
the
that
side of the
walk?
road. Yeah. so,
Were they all dog ticks or were there
Yeah,
any
they're
deer
dog
ticks?
ticks.
Oh, okay,
They're
good.
dog ticks.
oh,
Ugh is right.
that's disgusting.
Yeah, 12 ticks. That's a lot of ticks. I don't think I've had 12 ticks in my life.
I don't think so either. It might be close, but
I did have one crawling at me the other day. I was taking a nap in the chair and I felt this thing in my hand. And what? I kind of woke up drowsily and oh, that's a tick.
it is funny how that is so tiny, but somehow you can just sense that it's
Yeah.
there because it's so tiny and
Yeah.
light. You'd
I mean,
think.
there were some people there was that one woman at town meeting spoke that she
Yeah,
said she had gotten some ticks. She thought at the town
Yeah.
meeting, it's certainly possible.
Yeah, in the field, I think when
Yeah.
you sit in the grass, and if it's at all wet, it's bad. Yeah, this has
Yeah.
been a bad year so far. Okay, what time is it?
5:36. Oh, there's somebody. It says iPhone guest. See who that is.
We'll ask them to identify themselves. So would the person who just joined us with iPhone, please identify yourself. We need it for the minutes.
Okay, hi Rita. I'm going in to be able to type in my name. It
Oh,
is
okay.
Mary Lou Conca. Thank
Oh.
you.
Okay, thanks, Mary Lou.
Okay.
And Mary Lou, we're just a little delayed here in getting started because Becky's en route to the meeting or back to town hall, and Melissa was on her way home from work. So I apologize that we haven't started on time.
Melissa's here.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Rita.
Who's Melissa? Hey, Melissa. Okay.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. Becky isn't here
Oh, I
either.
can't
so
hear anybody. Hang on.
Mary Ann started the meeting. We might have to jump around a little bit this evening. There's a couple of things that we need from Becky, but anyway, regardless, I'm going to go ahead and open the meeting of the Shutesbury Select Board. It's May 24th, 2022, and this meeting is being held via Zoom. So the first item is that I will review this evening's agenda, and then we'll have a public comment period, review the minutes of May 10th, 2022, then discuss mosquito spraying, opting out of mosquito spraying. We have to do an application, and we'll review that with the Board of Health at 5:45. At 6 o'clock, we'll be reviewing an open meeting law complaint. At 6:10, review the school heating construction contract. And then 6:15, talk about ARPA, American Rescue Plan. At 6:30, we'll have an executive session for reason number 6 to discuss the boat launch down at Lake Wyola, the public beach. Then at 7 o'clock, we'll have another executive session, also for reason number 6, to discuss the Coles land swap. And I assume we will not be coming back into public session after the second executive session. So as always, I want to open up the floor to public comment. And I just ask that if you can use the raise hand feature, makes it easier for me. I see Becky has joined us. Again, we're running a few minutes behind schedule, but I think we can get back on schedule relatively quickly. So, okay, Mary Lou, if you can unmute yourself. And just a reminder during public comment, what we ask is you to limit your comments to a couple of minutes. We don't have a long time. Later on in the agenda, if there's something specific, we can open it up for public discussion if the select board chooses. But so we ask you to address issues typically not on the agenda during public comment. So that being said, Mary Lou, go ahead.
Okay, so I think my thing is a two-part. First, I heard you say something to discuss Coles, and then you said 2 words. I hear that's your final executive session. I'm
Yes.
just curious what that topic is. My second comment or question, or I don't know, is that I'm still as a Shutesbury voter, unclear where things rest, and maybe you're not even the correct entity again, that's possible to answer, where things rest with the part of the elementary school roof that has been reported to still be leaking. I don't know where that all rests. Thank you.
Okay, so, I also should have mentioned when I talked about public comment is typically we don't engage in any kind of back and forth. We kind of take your comments and then do follow up. But I will address not the roof, because I think that was addressed pretty thoroughly at town meeting and can be addressed separate from this evening's meeting. But the second executive session concerning Coles land swap has to do with a parcel that is, oh gosh, Becky, you might have to rescue me here. This has been an ongoing issue where the town was swapping a piece of property with
Land.
Coles because we actually needed access. We needed this parcel. And it's by that, it has nothing to do with the, anything having to do with the AMP projects. It's right behind the highway garage.
It was for water supply for a resident.
Yes, sorry, wait a minute, to Rita. I think those were the 2 words, Rita, I didn't understand that you said at the end. You said land swap.
Right.
So thank you for that clarification.
Right,
And
you're welcome. Okay.
I'd like to hear from Becky too. Thank you.
I think, I just, that's what it is, Mary Lou. It's a land swap in order to, for us to have access to possibly a new well in the town center.
And that's, in the town center.
Yes,
It's
by the
it's
highway
not-
garage.
Oh, I see. It's not at Lake Viola.
No,
Oh,
no, it has nothing to do with Lake Viola. That's a totally separate, that's the first executive session, the boat launch.
oh, wow. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, any other public comment? Mary Lou, if you could just put your hand down, that would be great. Otherwise, I'll think you're
Sorry.
that's okay. Okay, so not seeing any other public comment, I want to go ahead and review the minutes of May 10th, 2022. And do I hear a motion from the select board members regarding those minutes?
Yep, I make a motion, we approve the minutes for the date you just said, which I
May 10th.
didn't catch. May 10th, thank you.
Yes. Okay, is there a
Second.
second? Okay, any discussion, any additions, deletions, edits to those minutes? They look good. Thank you, Linda, for your work on those. So all those in favor of approving the minutes of 5:10?
Make peace O'Neill, aye.
Stalker eye.
Farrell, aye. Okay, so I see Kat Hilton is here from the Board of Health. Our next item on the agenda is to talk about opting out of the mosquito spraying, and we have to do an application for that. So I don't know, Kat or Becky, do you want to take the lead on this?
I'm going to turn this one over to Catherine. She asked for the agenda item and I believe has everything under control.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if I go that far, but yes, normally, I guess what happens is municipalities apply for this and they have to consult with the Board of Health. What the Board of Health is doing in this case is we're taking the lead on the application and we're just asking you basically to vote on it and to get us a certified vote. I don't know if the select board members got the explanation that I sent in the email a day or two ago.
Mhm.
I
Is that-
didn't see it. Maybe I should have. I didn't see it.
Okay, well, what we are asking you to do is to vote to approve the submission of what's called an alternative mosquito management plan. And this is submitted to the Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs. And what it is an alternative to is to aerial pesticide spraying or other pesticide spraying if such spraying is mandated and carried out by a state entity called the State Reclamation and Mosquito Control Board. It doesn't happen very often, and I don't know that it's ever happened in this part of the state. But the idea is that if they're going to do it, we can opt out, and unless there is a genuine public health emergency, they would not overrule us. And if there were a genuine emergency, they would. The main cause for spraying would be human cases of Eastern equine encephalitis, which, if you don't know about it, is a truly horrific disease for which there is no treatment. There's basically no cure, and there's virtually no recovery from it. It's almost unheard of. EEE comes in waves, usually every 10 to 20 years, but with climate changing, it seems maybe it's coming a little bit more often. We had a minor outbreak up in Heath and Points East in 2019 and 2020, and it seems to have subsided then. The reason we're going ahead and applying this year is that we just want to kind of keep our hand in and keep EEA aware that we don't want it here. We don't want spraying here unless we have to have it. So in order to opt out, we have to submit a plan that consists largely of public education and public outreach measures. And we have always done this, and we are just going to step it up. So we have basically the alternative plan is a checklist. We give a little couple paragraphs explaining it, and then we check off all these things we're going to do on the checklist, which includes development and distribution of brochures and handouts, notifications on social media accounts, which in our case would be Nextdoor and Town Announce, mailings, which we've already done in the town newsletter, presentations such as this one and also some others that we have in mind, tabling at events where we put information out at town meeting, information on our website, and we're targeting to receive this information residents, municipal staff, I'm thinking specifically of Tim, and the state park. So,
Kat, can I ask you a question? My recollection is that last year we submitted an application to opt out of the spraying, and the state refused to approve our application. Is that correct? Am I remembering?
That is correct. All of the local towns that were considered moderate risk at that time were denied. And so there was a big fuss made about it. Our legislators got involved. And so this year when they put out the call for applications, it had much more detailed instructions about how to adequately apply.
Apply to opt out.
Yes, apply to opt out, exactly. So one of the things that we had to do as part of this application was simply to review the risk level in our town. And it doesn't go entirely town by town. So Shutesbury as a whole is considered historically low risk for AAA. However, after the last outbreak, they started creating more regional assessments so that if you were adjacent to a higher risk area, it could raise your risk level. So on the map that they distributed, most of Shutesbury is in the low risk category. The corner in which Lake Wyola is considered moderate risk because of its proximity to Wendell and New Salem and those places that are slightly higher risk. And so we have an idea about using our resources more in this corner of town, reaching out to the state park and possibly to people in Wendell, like their Conservation Commission and the Lake Wyola Association, to get information out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And does it automatically relate to horses, or is it are there
horses get it. I think it's actually transmitted through birds, but it can be transmitted to horses. And I think there's a vaccine for horses, but it can also be transmitted to human beings, and there's no vaccine for us. And if we get it, we either die or wish we had. So it's extremely serious. It's not to be taken lightly.
Mm-hmm.
But so far we haven't seen any here. We did join the mosquito, the regional plan for that. I can't think of the name of it right now. 2 years ago, and so they monitor the mosquitoes that they can find in the town, and they have not found any mosquitoes of concern. Right? Not every kind of mosquito transmits it. I can't tell you offhand what kind does, but they have not found those.
Okay. Questions, Melissa or Eric?
Just again, this is something we've done routinely, right? What is not, am I correct in saying that?
This meaning apply to
Just
opt out?
opting out, yes.
No, we've only done it one time.
Oh, one time.
Right, because I don't know if it existed before last year and we just didn't know about it, but last year was the first time.
Right.
But
Okay.
now I would like it to be a regular thing. So this is kind of practice.
But as you say, if there's an emergency, then there can be an override of our opting out.
Yes. Yes, but it would have to be a pretty significant emergency. I mean, there would have to be human cases, probably more than one. And pretty close to us. All the local towns last year applied to opt out. And as I said, they were all denied. But I think the overall risk assessment is lower this year because we're just not seeing any cases. And this is typical. You'll have cases of EEE for 2 years, maybe 3, and then it'll disappear for used to be 10 to 20 years, maybe now 5 to 10.
But the spraying didn't happen last year, even though they denied our opting out. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yeah, okay.
That is
All right.
correct. This is kind of a long shot because I don't think they've ever sprayed out in this part of the state. They sometimes spray like on the South Shore down there, partly for this and I think partly for West Nile. But I don't think they've ever sprayed out here. And we can hope that our luck holds on that so that this is basically moot. But you know, things move.
So Kat, do you need a vote from the select board
Yes,
regarding
yes.
the opting out? Okay.
Yes, and let me tell you what that vote must include to be legal for them. We
Okay.
need, it's not very complicated. We need the date and time of the meeting. We need that the Board of Health was consulted, that public comment was allowed, that the town wishes to opt out of all types of spraying, not just aerial spraying, and an acknowledgement that a vote to opt out will only be honored if all applications are submitted to and the application is approved by EEA. And then that vote has to be certified, and then I have to submit it by Friday.
Okay, so here's an instance where we want to allow for public comment. So, and Melissa and Eric, I assume you're okay with allowing public comment during the course of the meeting. So is there anybody who's from the public here this evening who wants to make a comment? Mary Lou, I see your hand up. Okay, go ahead, Mary Lou.
Yes, hi, thank you. I'm just curious about this whole mosquito spray. Where, if in the event that the state, it feels like we're at their mercy, first of all, which is not a very good feeling. If the state decided we were a high risk area, right? What exactly would they do? Would they come and spray the common and the town hall, or would they just go haywire spraying up and down the roads? And is it like a highly poisonous substance? I'm very, thank you.
I don't really know the answer to those questions, Mary Lou, how it would happen. It happens so rarely and never here that we just don't have any experience of it. I mean, I know that there are places where they have, you know, trucks have just gone up and down the street spraying everything. I can't imagine that that would be their tactic, but I really don't know. And you know what, we don't want to find out, right? We want them not to come here and spray, and that's why we joined the Mosquito Control District, and that's why we're trying to get individuals and entities like the state park and so on to try to limit and control the mosquito breeding habitat.
Thank you.
Tom or John, do either of you have any questions about the spraying?
No, thank you, but thanks for asking.
Okay. Okay, so I know you went through that list. I didn't memorize it of all the things that we needed to do, but I think if you can, I think we can comply with all of the requirements as stated, that we had this meeting, that we're gonna have the select board vote. We've consulted with the Board of Health. We've asked for public comments.
Okay.
And
We want to opt out of all kinds of spraying.
we want to opt out of all kinds of spraying.
And we understand that we have to submit everything and our application has to be approved before it actually happens.
Okay. So
Okay.
Linda, do you have all of those conditions? The detailed?
Yes.
Okay.
Linda, you should have received them in an email. You probably
Yes,
have
I
it in
have it.
writing.
Yep, I have it
Okay.
right in front of me.
Okay.
So, right, so the motion.
Okay, so that will be all incorporated into the motion of all of the things that Kat just mentioned. So do I hear a motion to conform to the state's requirements for the town of Shutesbury to opt out of the mosquito spraying?
So moved.
Second,
Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Make peace O'Neill, aye.
Stalker, aye.
Carol, aye.
And so
Thanks.
I just want to say that, so this vote has to be certified according
Okay.
to Catherine's list.
Okay, so that means what?
I believe by the town clerk. Has to make a certified copy of the, am I unmuted? Okay, good. Of the minutes. Once, Linda, even if it's, what is the deadline, Kat?
I have to submit by Friday.
Okay, so Linda, that would mean that we'd have to certify a draft copy of the minutes
Right.
for Kat to submit.
And is
So-
there a signature needed from the select board?
No, they
Oh,
told me that I
it's town clerk.
could sign it myself,
Yeah.
Okay,
the application, and then I don't know about the certification would be Grace.
okay.
Okay, all right.
You're all set with that, Linda?
Yeah, I'll get that to Grace sometime tomorrow. Yep.
Okay, great.
Super.
All right, thanks, Kat, for coming and explaining this to us.
Okay, well, thank you.
Okay,
Good night.
Good night.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so the next item on the agenda is we've had an open meeting law complaint regarding an article, an item that was included on the agenda for our last meeting, which was not on the posted agenda prior to the 48-hour. And this is somewhat atypical, but I think it was an item that was of concern to John Montanari, who's here with us this evening and who made the complaint. And so typically in these cases, what the select board does is we respond in writing to the complaint. And Becky, have you drafted a response?
Yeah. I think that means you didn't receive, but I thought I had sent it to everyone.
Well,
I
I
got
didn't look. Did you get it?
I got it.
Was it
It
what?
came.
Yeah, it was
late this-
later this afternoon.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, I've been sort of tied up. I did
Yeah,
not see it.
That's fine. I just wanted to have something. Of course, it's not final. It's only a draft. Because I can put it up online. The important thing is I didn't want to assume the select board's response, but I did, I blocked it out and it's open for change. Would you like me to share the screen, Rita, or talk about?
Well, I think we could probably just talk about it. I think when I initially responded to John, I was thinking this was one of those things that we kind of unexpected that comes up when we do it the last minute. But what I think and this is regards to taking down the Black Lives Matter banner. So that was proposed by Marian Antonellis, because it was originally purchased by, I think, the Friends of the Emmett Spear Library. So And what we discussed at the time was removing the banner, and then a local artist has very graciously and generously offered a piece of artwork. It's a poster, a relatively small poster that we might put up in the town hall of I believe it's his original artwork, right? Yeah. But, you know, I think given what I'd like to do, or what I would suggest that we do, is to have this article put back on another agenda, maybe at our next meeting, so that, you know, if anybody else, so that it's done prior to the, you know, prior to it, it's not just before the meeting. And that way kind of address the concern that there wasn't adequate notice. And we do have to respond, regardless, we do have to respond in writing regarding the complaint. But my recommendation would be that we send a letter talking about kind of the genesis, you know, how that happened, and that we will put it on a future agenda. Is that, Melissa and Eric, does that sound reasonable?
That sounds fine with me. That sounds fine. To put on the
Okay.
next agenda is fine.
Okay.
I agree.
John, I just want to give you an opportunity to speak.
Okay, I appreciate the sense of what the three of you are saying, and that's all I'm asking for, frankly. And let me just ask, was the item added to the agenda as a response to my request specifically? Back in April, when I came on public comment and renewed my request.
I don't.
No.
Yeah, I don't know.
What was the origin of that item being added to the May 10th agenda?
It was the librarian.
The library requested it, Mary Ann.
Yeah, she wanted to talk about taking the banner down
Okay,
and thoughts about the future after the banner came down.
okay. So you did not respond to my request with a decision to add it to an agenda? My April request of this year.
That was not the origin of the agenda item. We were mindful of your continued concerns,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why I've been in discussion with Mary Ann.
All right. I'll certainly stop short of discussing the substance of the issue now and wait until.
Yeah, because we will have it. So we'll
Yeah.
put it on the agenda. Our next meeting, I just wanted
It'll be
to.
June 7th.
June 7th.
All right.
Okay.
I'll make sure I'm available.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thanks.
So-
Thanks,
Now,
John.
So-
I'll keep looking ahead to the agenda and seeing what
Okay.
is on there.
Well, it will be on June 7th.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Okay, thank you.
Good night, John.
All right, again, we typically don't have engage with the public. Mary Ann, if you have something specific and.
Just, I think I should probably be at that meeting.
Yes.
And so I have a program at 6:30. So if it could be earlier on the agenda, that would be
Okay.
good.
Would 6 o'clock work for you, Mary
Yes.
Ann?
Yeah, I think so.
John too.
Okay.
Okay.
All righty. Thanks. Okay. And so I think I can leave now. And Becky, I think you're the host, Becky, and I can leave.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you
All right.
very, very, very much.
You're welcome. Okay.
And I
All right,
want
bye-bye.
to apologize to the select board. I ran into difficulty getting here timely, and Mary Ann was so gracious to make sure you could all meet despite my absence. So thanks.
You weren't the only one, Becky.
We did get you late.
Yeah.
Mary
None of
Lou, I
us
see your.
was holding up the whole Zoom account.
Mary Lou, I see your hand, but we're not talking about the this anymore. It's going to be on the agenda for the June 7th meeting.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll go in and put my hand down.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Okay, so next we need to review the school heating construction contract. And Becky, do you want to go through that?
Okay, so this is for the elementary school HVAC control system. We went out for engineering with the $17,000 allocated by the by the town at last annual town meeting. And we contracted with Hesner Engineering, who put the bid out in March of this year for the control replacement and repairs. That bid came in right after our last, the bid came in quite a while ago, but the contract, the bid was being bid about the same day as our last meeting. We had two bids. One was for about $400,000, over 400,000 actually. And then the second bidder was CTC, who bid $233,000 for the controls replacement. I can put the contract itself up on the screen. The low bidder is very well respected in the field. The engineer has worked with him, that company, in a number of elementary school heating projects. So we do have a very competent DCAM certified bidder to award the contract to. We only allocated $200,000 for this project. And the reason I wasn't in a total panic to solve this issue is, number one, the ARPA money potentially could be available. That discussion will happen shortly. And there's potential the school could also put money in if they had any, but between those two sources, and I think that going forward with this bid as the low bid is really important to the town, because we can't go another winter without doing the work. Would you like the contract itself on screen, Rita, or?
I don't see the need to go through a contract. I think the explanation is the important part, and how we make up the difference. So just so that I make sure I understand, the $200,000 was approved at the last town meeting,
Yes.
and we're $33,000 over,
Yes.
and we didn't bring it back to town meeting.
The timing, the
year.
warrant had been set.
Right, okay.
And if the ARPA money hadn't been there, I would have really panicked. But I think between that and if we have to scrap around, if that's not allowable, but I'm hoping that that can be the solution
Okay.
for the project.
Okay. Eric and Melissa, do you guys have any questions?
No. I
So
don't.
do we need to, is this a vote, or you're just informing
vote.
us?
It's a vote, and then if you'll stop by and sign the contract, Rita.
Okay,
They'll get immediately to work. They came the day after they signed the contract, right before they sent it, as soon as they received it, and they had a person out here the next day. So if we can get this contract signed and back to them, they are anxious to begin after the last day of school. But they're doing their planning and getting ready. So we've only given them a 90-day window to do all the work. So they're pushing hard to make sure they don't need any additional time.
so can we sign a contract without having the actual designation of the money? The additional $33,000?
As there is a place for the accountant to sign, so I think you pretty much have to agree that it can come from the ARPA money, or if there is no other source found.
Do we have a number from the school? Can they match what we're coming up with?
Well, we need 33,000,
Mhm.
and they won't know probably for a few more weeks of where they're coming out on their year-end budget. So I didn't get a number from them.
Okay, so it would come from their year-end budget.
If they have it available. And otherwise, we need the permission from the select board to use ARPA funds.
Okay. Okay, so maybe we do.
We want to move into the ARPA discussion. That's the next item on the agenda.
Yeah,
It does
I
flow
think-
nicely
yeah.
into that.
Okay, so yeah, why don't we move into the ARPA discussion? And just remind me again, you want us to be voting to authorize the execution of this contract?
Yes, from CTC for the HVAC controls for 233,000, where 200,000 only was approved by town meeting.
Right, okay. Okay, so let's start to talk about ARPA, and then we can do the vote on the CTC contract. Does that make sense? Melissa? Yeah. Okay, so just to kind of the big picture regarding ARPA is that the town's receiving, I believe the last number I heard was $525,000. Is that the updated number, Becky?
Yes, it is.
And in the American Rescue Program plan, and those funds are coming through FERCog rather than the state. And are some coming directly from the Treasury too, or is it all coming through FERCog?
It's all no, it was split. It was split.
I thought so. Yeah, so, and how much do we actually have on hand of that $525,000?
It's, I think, 265. It's close to $280,000. Yeah,
Okay,
it's over half of the 525.
okay. And then the balance, I assume, is coming during this year, this calendar year.
Yes.
So the deal with the ARPA money is that that money comes to the town. It's it's related to it's what Congress voted as a result of the impact of COVID, but for communities that are receiving less than $10 million, there's a lot of flexibility as to how those funds can be spent. If you're $10 million or over, you have to use the funds. There are much more rigorous guidelines in terms of using the funds. That's not to say that we have to document everything. Obviously, this is federal money. There's going to be all kinds of requirements in terms of audit and so forth, but we don't have the restrictions that we would have for the larger cities that are receiving a lot more money than we are. I know the ARPA money's been discussed for a number of different things, including the school roof, and I just wanted to recommend that we as a select board have some sort of process for these funds, and before they get spoken for, it's our responsibility. We don't have to go. This does not have to go before town meeting. So it's it's a significant amount of money for a small town like ours. Select board gets to make the decisions, and what I've observed, from other communities is that they go through a process of kind of prioritizing, like, how should we spend these monies? And I think that's important for this board to do. Now, obviously, we have an immediate concern with the controls for the for the heating system at the elementary school. And in this case, it seems like something that would make sense in moving forward. Clearly, the roof is very important too. But what we want to make sure is that, you know, we're making these decisions in the context of like all other expenses and potential demands upon that money. So what, you know, I would feel comfortable moving ahead with the CTC contract this evening. Obviously, you know, we need to have this taken care of. And then, you know, for the balance of the ARPA funds, that we go through a process with town boards and committees of just soliciting their input as to what their priorities are for the money. So we've already heard, I think, and we'll hear again about the school roof. And I assume that will be at the top of a lot of people's list. And then if that, I think we were talking somewhere in the neighborhood, I can't remember, was it $275,000 in ARPA funds, $300,000 for the school roof. And if we have $33,000 for the control, so that would be $333,000. So we have a little bit less than $200,000 as the balance. And what I was gonna recommend is that we take this next few weeks to solicit information from all town boards and committees as to what the highest priorities are for the money. Assuming we'll have the 525 minus the $33,000. And then at our first meeting in July, which I don't know what that date is, Becky.
I think it's
But
July 5th.
so at our July 5th meeting, then we make some decisions, or, you know, maybe we choose to identify a couple of things that we think, and we don't have to commit to spending all the money July 5th, but if there are certain really high priority items that have been identified by boards and committees, then we could begin to kind of put that list together. And, you know, I think I just want to make clear, you know, we do have, there is a kind of longer time horizon with the ARPA funds to be committed. So I think they need to be committed by the end of 2024 and then spent by the end of 2026. But I went to a FRCOG, the Franklin Regional Council of Governments, held a municipal officials session a few weeks back. And there were folks from administration and finance, the State Office of Administration and Finance, and also some officials from other communities. And I think there's some urgency to identifying how and committing these funds sooner rather than later. There's a lot of money out there, and there's the potential for attempts to claw back the money. So the sooner we have it spoken for and committed, the better. Rather than leaving it sit out there and be subject to clawback. And that's a real, it's already been, it's already happened once. And certainly everybody's expecting that there'll be more movement to doing it again. So does that process make sense to you guys? So we could just have Becky send something out to, again, all town boards, committees, departments, saying, do you have priorities? We have this money available.
And your sense is that would just be via email or whatever, that there'd be no No, we're not talking about having a meeting, or are we talking about having a meeting?
Well, I think we could invite people to come to the that first July meeting. And I think I think this way, all of the committees would have an opportunity to meet in June. And then we could invite them to come to that July meeting, if that makes sense to everybody.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah,
And maybe leave some space on the agenda for, like a good chunk of few minutes,
Yeah,
a good chunk of time. Yeah.
the one thing is that would, I think committing the 33,000 right now to the school HVAC system is a good idea.
Mhm.
I'm wondering about in the long run, whether or not committing any kind of ARPA funds to the school roof will negate our ability to, we may not get the grant anyway, but I would assume that if we commit the ARPA funds ahead of time, the people writing the grant are going to say, well, you've already got this covered. Why are we going to give you the money? Maybe, am I right about that?
Eric, I think they will be glad to see we've committed some funds, and the 300,000 is estimated to be half or less than half, which would, and it's a 50% grant. So I don't think it will negatively
Okay.
impact the grant.
Okay, good. Okay, that's all.
Okay, so let's go ahead and Frank, I see your hand up. We're running kind of a little bit behind schedule. I don't know if this is something that's really
It was
critical.
just a quick question. You said you were going to ask all the town committees, will the town's building committees be up and running by that meeting for their input?
This will be during June. So the question it will go out in June. The new town building committee will not get established till after July 1.
Okay, so they will not have an input on the ARPA money or any monies?
Becky, is that correct?
I don't think I think it's more flexible. I don't think it's a hard
okay.
startup. It could take that long, but I'm just saying that it would be possible. And
Stay tuned on that one, Frank.
Okay.
Okay.
Questions in the air.
We'll get back to you. Yeah, I was thinking July 1 but that's the fiscal year, but it doesn't really.
Okay.
The town buildings committee.
Yeah,
isn't impacted. I'm not going to take any more questions. I
Nope.
apologize. Mary Lou, I see your hand, but we're behind schedule, and I want to kind of keep to the agenda as detailed. So do I hear a motion to approve the school heating construction contract with CTC? Actually, so we need 2 votes, right? We need a vote or using, in one vote, should I say using $33,000 to execute the contract and use $33,000 of ARPA funds?
And you want to put in contingent upon no other funds being available, just in case we find other money and the school comes in.
Okay.
That makes it more flexible in the end.
Okay. So do I hear a motion to approve the school heating construction contract with CTC using up to $33,000 in ARPA funds?
Contingent upon no
other funds being available from the Shutesbury Elementary School
or any other source.
Or any other source. Okay,
So
Linda, do you have that? Okay.
Second.
Is there a second? Any further discussion about that?
Just one signature needed, Becky?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Makepeace O'Neill, I.
Stalker, aye.
Farrell, I. So Becky, just to complete the ARPA discussion, then will you draft something for to go out to the town committees and boards and departments? And I
And if you
guess-
want to look it over before it goes out, Rita, I can send it to you first.
Okay, that would be good. Eric and Melissa, do you guys want to see it before it goes out?
No, I trust you guys.
Yeah, I can trust you. Yeah.
Okay,
I don't want to
All right.
delay it, so.
okay, that's good. So we'll get that taken care of. Okay, so it is 6:30, and as noted on the agenda, we are going to have a executive session for reason number 6, the boat launch, to consider the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property. As I have declared that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the public body. And we need to vote to go into this executive session, must be in majority and a recorded roll call vote. Because we're having another executive session immediately following this one,
We will not return to regular open session.
yeah, do I say now that we will not be coming back into open session? Okay, so we will, and the select board will not be coming back into open session after these 2 executive sessions. So need to
Put both reasons
Take a
on the
vote?
record now.
I'm sorry, Donna?
Put both reasons on the record now.
Oh, okay. All right. So the second executive session is for reason number 6, a Coles land swap to consider the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property. As I have declared that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the select board, and minutes will also be reviewed. And we will, again, not be coming back into public session.
Okay, so now you have to vote.
Okay,
To
so
go
take a
in.
vote to go into to executive sessions. Melissa,
Makepeace O'Neill, I.
Stalker, aye.
Farrell, aye. So the recording will stop.
Well, okay, yeah, okay.
We have to have everyone exit first.
And everybody, this select board members need to be, and everybody participating in the executive session needs to confirm that they are in a place where they can't be heard by anybody else. And I am.
I am.
Me too. I
I
am.
am.
I am. There's still someone listed up above in the meeting. There we go.
It's me. I think we're good now.
Okay,
And
good.
so I will,
Stop recording.
Becky, the waiting room is enabled, right, in case anyone tries to come in.
yes.
Okay.
Stop
I
recording.
enabled the waiting room. They can't get in. And I apologize. I have to go unlock a door. I'll be right up.
I can stop the recording.
Thank
You made me co-host. You're welcome.